Hey there guys, in today's video I'm going to show you some basic knots for making parrot toys, as well as going over some of the different types of rope that you can use when making your parrot toys. So if that's something you guys are interested in seeing, you want to make sure to stick around, because that's going to be coming up right after this. Guys, this is Jack over at Hi Red Bird, where I am tirelessly working to find new ways to make the keeping of exotic animals and pets more exciting, more affordable, and ultimately more enjoyable. In today's video, I wanted to show you guys a variety of different knots that you can use for making some basic parrot toys. Now, I say it's a variety of different knots, but realistically, these are all going to be variations of the exact same knot. So as soon as you can master it in one application, you're going to be able to use it to make a variety of different parrot toys. So it's going to be incredibly simple to use and incredibly useful. Now, I'm not saying these are the only knots that you can use when making parrot toys. There's obviously going to be different knots you can use. There's going to be different knots for different applications. But if you're just getting started, these are going to be some really simple ideas that are going to be very, very useful and safe to make toys for your parrots. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into how we're going to be putting these together. Now, the first thing I wanted to talk about is the different types of rope that you can use for making bird toys. They are not all created the same, and they're not all going to work in every application, so it's important that you find the one that works for you. This first one I'm showing you is a type of rope made specifically for bird toys. It was sold by a bird toy store. You can see that it's a pretty decent strength plastic. It's got a really tight braid, so I wouldn't be worried about nails getting caught in it. But it is a little bit too thin for things like macaws, cockatoos, or large parrots. Leather strap is a great option. It's a natural product. You do want to make sure that you are paying attention to what it's been treated with. But because it's a natural product, you may also notice that you get variation in thickness and strength. Some parts of it may be really weak and brittle. Some parts may be pretty strong. So just pay attention to that. With any natural product, that's going to be something that you see, that little bit of variation. One of my favorite things to use is paper rope. This is basically just craft paper that has been twisted tightly together into a rope. It is a great option for a lot of different birds. It comes in a variety of thicknesses. The only time that I don't like using this is if I'm making toys for birds that live primarily in outdoor enclosures. The humidity of the Gulf Coast means that this will pretty much fall apart in a matter of hours because the paper just gets softer from all of the humidity. You'll also see that the ends can be a little bit difficult to work with, so using something like tape to just wrap around the ends is going to help you thread those items, those toy parts that you're using, onto your rope. And then whenever you're done making your toys, just go ahead and cut that off. But you can see that then threads really, really nicely through certain pieces. It cuts off really easily as well. Another really good toy making rope is going to be this all-natural sisal rope. A couple considerations to make with this. There are going to be some threads that could potentially be an ingestion hazard for a bird. If they're picking at it and eating it, it could potentially be something your bird could get wrapped up in. And with natural sisal, you want to make sure that it's bird safe. You don't want one that's been treated with preservatives that could potentially be toxic. Shoelaces can be an option for small birds as well. You just want to make sure that you have one that is woven, not braided, so you're not worried about nails getting caught. And obviously, you're going to cut those plastic pieces off at the very end. So the knots we're going to be using to make these bird toys are all variations of an overhand knot. So all you're going to do is make a loop. You're going to go ahead, tuck that tail back in through your loop, pull it tight, and you're going to make a really easy knot. So this is actually a knot that I use for finishing most toys, but all of the knots that we're going to be making are going to be a variation of this. So I thought I would show you guys how to do this part first. And if you're making something like a foot toy, you can go ahead and use this overhand knot on both sides of a foot toy. Now, one really fun thing about foot toys is they don't have to be that difficult. You can just take a few scrap pieces. If you've made some really nice, elaborate, big toys for your birds and you still have a few pieces left over. Here I've got some dyed tongue depressors. I made a lot of really big toys for birds, but I've got a few left in each of these colors. So I might as well just make a couple of foot toys. Now you guys can see with this paper rope, after trying to do just a few of those tongue depressors, it was already starting to come apart. Just that little bit of tape really does make all the difference in the world in being able to thread these things easily. And it's going to be little tricks like that that make all the difference when you are trying to put together multiple bird toys. If you have multiple birds, you're trying to just spend an afternoon making toys for your birds, you can definitely do something like that. So this toy is going to be a lot of fun because a bird could potentially spin those pieces. They could just pick them up and chew them. But I'm going to go ahead and do another overhand knot. And what I'm going to do is try to pull that as close to those pieces as possible. Now all I need to do is take my scissors, trim that down. You can decide if the tail on the other side is a little too long. You can trim that if you want, or you can leave it if you're not worried about your bird getting caught in it. Now the next knot we're going to do is, again, an overhand knot, but we're going to be using this to make a loop. You can use then a quick link or something to hang this up for your birds. So all you want to do is have enough of that tail tucked down that you can hold it within maybe 2 to 3 fingers worth. It's going to depend on the thickness of your rope, but then you're going to go ahead and take that little loop you created at the top and do an overhand knot with that. What that accomplishes is that you now have a loop. You have that knot that's holding everything together, and you're going to have one long tail that you can then thread items on to create a hanging toy for your bird. Since I'm using this scrap piece of paper rope that still had that little bit of tape on the one side, I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. You can cut that pretty much flush. If you give yourself a little bit of a tail, it will still give you a little bit of insurance in case anything starts to come loose. But your goal here is to pull it nice and tight so you're not worried about anything coming loose. Now here you can just use whatever toy parts you want to use for this hanging toy. Using just scrap pieces of cardboard or cardstock like this is a great way to make a shreddable toy. And then all I'm going to do is that basic overhand knot at the bottom just to hold everything together. And then again, I'm going to trim off my tail. So now I have a great hanging toy. For our final knot, we are going to use the shoelace, and if you had difficulty with positioning the loop on a single-stranded toy, this is going to be a great option for you. Take a piece of rope that is going to be more than double however long you want your toy to be, find the midpoint, and do an overhand knot there. Now what that's going to accomplish is you are going to have 2 strands that you can work off. Now when you are doing your loop, make sure that you are paying attention to the size of that loop. Make sure it's appropriate for your bird. You don't want to run the risk of them being able to get caught in anything. This part I just wanted to show you guys because I had it in my mind that I was going to thread that giant bead, and it said no. And sometimes that happens, and you do have to make a little bit of a change to your plan. But here I'm just showing you that a wide variety of different toy parts can be used. We're going to go ahead and thread them up on one side, then we're going to thread them up on the other. So one of the benefits here is that you can get twice as much toy in a single space. From that one place that that toy is hanging, there's going to be 2 tails holding all of these different toy parts. So I would love to hear from you guys if any of these knots were something that you did not know, please let me know. I'd love to know if you think they will be helpful in making toys for your birds. One of the things that I wanted to promote with this channel is that there's so many easy ways to make and design things for your bird. So I do want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, you want to make sure you subscribe to the Hi Redbird YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any of these fun videos and tutorials. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time. I do need to say a special thank you to my patrons on Patreon. By signing up to support this channel, they help me make more tutorials and videos showcasing animal care possible. If you'd like to find out more about subscribing to my Patreon, you can find the link in the description section down below. Thanks so much.